Of all ancient civilizations, the Aztecs are some of the most intriguing, shrouded in immense mystery as the secretive culture of Mesoamerica. Their rites and culture have been the center of historical, archaeological, and cultural speculation. The Aztec Empire flourished in the 14th century before abruptly fading away after the forceful Spanish troops invaded and took over the Mexican land. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 Aztec mysteries. Archaeologists uncover secret passage to the underworld at Pyramid of the Moon in Teotihuacan. The antique city of Teotihuacan is the subject of much curiosity, especially now that an underground tunnel was uncovered by archaeologists underneath the mystical Pyramid of the Moon. It is believed that the tunnel symbolizes the Aztec passage to the underworld. In 300 BCE, the people of Mesoamerica built the great city as they expanded their settlements. At its prime, more than 125,000 people lived in Teotihuacan. At the time, it was the 6th largest city in the entire ancient world. Robert Cowgill, an archaeologist at the University of Arizona, has stated that it was the largest city anywhere in the Western Hemisphere before the 1400s. It had thousands of residential compounds and scores of pyramid temples comparable to the largest pyramids of Egypt. It is unknown who built the city in its entirety. Teotihuacan is older than the Aztec people by an estimated entire millennium. There is evidence that a variety of cultures resided in the city through the centuries, including the Mayans, who influenced much of the architecture. Which culture or civilization created Teotihuacan cannot be confirmed, at least not with the limited evidence we have. The name itself comes from the Aztec word that means birthplace of the gods. However, Mayan hieroglyphs recognize the city as Pu, place of reeds. The city was in ruins when the Aztecs claimed it as their own, abandoned and forlorn for at least half a century, if not longer. Scholars are conflicted about what could have happened to the city. Some believe that Teotihuacan was abruptly attacked, its downfall resulting in a brutal siege by enemy forces. Other scholars argue that there is evidence that suggests a civil uprising occurred due to some unforeseen ecological catastrophe, such as famine, with the ruling class being overthrown. Another theory is that some natural disaster caused a vast population to decline and made survivors move away. There is residual proof of various buildings in Teotihuacan having been burnt. The theory of enemy civilizations ransacking the city is widely accepted by scholars nowadays, though. However, the only structures with evidence of having been burnt are the ones believed to have housed the ruling class, coming full circle and suggesting a social revolt. The Pyramid of the Moon was traced back to between 100 and 450 AD and was used for animal and human sacrifice, though it additionally served as a burial ground for the victims of sacrifice. An altar resided in the pyramid dedicated to the great goddess of Teotihuacan. Dr. Veronica Ortega, an archaeologist, explained in the explorations carried out at the end of the 1980s, through tunnels excavated in the body of the pyramid, archaeologists Ruben Cabrera and Saburo Sugiyama found skeletons of individuals with cranial deformation. The news of this great tunnel, symbolic of the descent into the underworld meant for the victims of human sacrifice, makes us yearn for more knowledge that may never come to us, but is fascinating to consider. It is unknown whether the tunnel was added by the Aztecs or if it had already been there before them. Perhaps someday we will finally find out. Geomagnetic fields and pyramids. Much to the shock of many modern people, Teotihuacan had advanced technology for its era, with professional engineering, elaborate tunnel systems beneath pyramids, and even something akin to an ancient generator that combined mineral and chemical waters into built-in chambers that created natural sources of energy. We are not sure how the energy was used and delivered, but it shows that the people of Teotihuacan were significantly more intelligent than other civilizations of the time. Sergio Gomez, an archaeologist in 2003, found a hidden tunnel beneath the temple of Quetzalcoatl. Recent heavy rainfall made the cracks in the tunnel open up and expand, revealing it on the surface and creating a noticeable divot large enough to potentially cause harm to unexpected visitors touring the city. Because of the potential for injury, Sergio Gomez inspected the cracks further. It was then that he realized it was actually a tunnel. Because of the antiquity of Teotihuacan, archaeologists are wary of the fact that artifacts could be hidden in plain sight. Every movement must be careful lest it destroys some vital information of the reality the Aztecs lived in. Every stone and pebble may hold a vast history. After he received permission from the INAH, short for National Institute of Anthropology and History, Gomez proceeded to investigate with a team of other professionals who helped him remove surface debris. The excavation was tedious and slow, but eventually, Dr. Gomez was lowered into a well shaft 14 feet deep that opened up into the tunnel's cavern. The main goal was to search for artifacts, but they found the main access point to the energy complex that proceeded to go down over 40 feet. Over 400 tons of debris had to be cleared for them to access the area properly. Laser scanners revealed that the cavern went a shocking 330 feet below the surface of the pyramid and had small room chamber-like pockets cut carefully into the sides of the cavern's main shaft. Before even getting into digging, the archaeological team immediately found a plethora of artifacts and fantastic discoveries of tools left behind by ancient builders, who were evidently experienced and knew exactly what they were doing. In total, over 50,000 artifacts and classical tools were found in the cavern shaft, making the modern archaeologists consider the potential for a royal tomb to lay somewhere either in or near the tunnel. Furthermore, there was proof of water markings in the tunnel and proof of the mineral energy generator that was suspected to have been used in the city by the ancient people who lived there. There were also various mineral sediments within the ground itself. The gravel held traces of chemicals thought to have been used to generate the energy. The electromagnetic energy present in these caverns shows a professional level of precision. These natural mineral chemical generators are present throughout all Central America and Mesoamerican lands, showing that this was relatively common knowledge for the various people who once lived there. Guatemala, Mundo Perdido, and Quetzalcoatl pyramids all have these electromagnetic signatures and charges. Archaeologist Burke commented on the voltage found at these sites. These voltages might sound lethal, and if it were a household current, they could be. However, static electric charge in the air is a different type of electricity, and even 1,000 volts is not dangerous. The science remains unknown to us, just out of reach. The underground city of Aztlan. Aztlan is the fabled ancestral home of the Aztecs. The location of Aztlan is thought to have been in northwestern Mexico or the southwest US, but it is unknown if Aztlan was ever a real place or a mythical land of fables. Legend states that 7 tribes lived in the underground caves of Aztlan. Some claims of Aztlan contradict each other. Sometimes it is painted as a paradise. Other times it is said that Aztlan was ruled by a tyrant named Azteca Chicomostoca. It is believed their priest led the Aztecs out of Aztlan and to the Valley of Mexico. Aztlan may be a fabricated world such as Camelot or Atlantis, as no physical proof of its existence has ever been found. Nevertheless, just like Atlantis, there are believers in the claim of its authenticity. Searches for this mystic land have been conducted all the way from Mexico to Utah, but have been fruitless. Though never physically identified, Aztlan is described in ancient legends as a long-lost secret island, further cementing its connection with the mystery of Atlantis in the eyes of theorists, though rather than being an island in the traditional sense, it is depicted as being an island on top of a lake. But because of the links it has to Atlantis, however limited, there are some people who argue that they were one and the same. The search for Aztlan and Atlantis is a search for the same exact location with merely 2 alternative names, though this has been heavily disputed as the legend of Aztlan and the legend of Atlantis originated in different places and seem to be different cities entirely. There is a common belief that perhaps the Aztecs were not originally people stemming from Mexican lands, but came from what is now known as the Western United States, and that they migrated down to the Valley of Mexico, settling there in due time. When it comes to finding Aztlan, there are 3 main issues that must be addressed. First, there is the problem of stretching the Aztec civilization. Most likely would not have migrated directly from Aztlan to the Valley of Mexico, assuming there were other settlements and places they moved to during that stretch of time. As such, they would most likely have zigzagged around the continent. As such, finding the exact traces of where they went and the journey, they made it near impossible to accomplish and may always leave us with missing pieces in the puzzle. Secondly, layering. Theories suggest there would have been multiple migrations from north to south, so the travels would have layered over each other. Lastly, folding. Links to the aforementioned layering. They would have travelled from north to south and south to north continuously. As such, the potential of following in their archaeological footsteps is currently merely a fantasy. But who knows? Perhaps we will uncover the secrets of the Aztecs in their entirety someday. But what do you make of the Aztec civilization? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.